Let me cut to the chase. These might just be the best two pieces of technology that I've ever bought. Hello, my name's Carl from Team Burgundy and welcome back to another unboxing and setup. Today we're going to be looking at the new Phillips Hue HDMI Sync Box and Gradient Lightstrip. In this video we're going to take you through what's in the box, installation, setup and our final thoughts after about a month of use. Now if this is the first video of ours that you've watched, then I want to say a big thank you. This is a new channel and I'm really passionate about all sorts of technology, plus I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so we're always looking for not just the highest quality products but how they integrate nicely with the other parts of our life. So if you like what you see, then please feel free to have a look at our other videos, as well as check out our Instagram, and we'd really appreciate if you can click the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. There is definitely a lot to learn when it comes to making YouTube videos, but we're looking to get a new video out every month. Okay, let's get into it. First up, let's look at the HDMI Sync Box. Inside the packaging you get the box itself, instruction manual which we don't need, a basic HDMI lead which is 1 meter long and will support the HDMI 2.0 standard, power cable, 3-pin plug and power brick which you just need to click together. Looking at the sync box in a bit more detail, it has 4 HDMI imports to connect to your devices, game consoles, skyboxes, streaming sticks, or in our case an Apple TV, and the power port. 1 HDMI out port that connects to your television. The USB port is only for diagnostics and there's an infrared receiver on the front. As I mentioned, the box supports HDMI 2.0B with support for 4K up to 60Hz, HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Next, let's unpack the light strip. Firstly, you get the strip itself, which is the 75-inch variant in this case. Now the light strip comes in black and they're all made from this silicone material which can't be cut to length, but it is quite flexible and relatively sturdy. I do suggest though that you're careful when you're handling yours, as I've had a hardware issue which I'm going to talk a bit more about later. You also get a box of mounting clips which all use high quality 3M tape. You get 3 straight clips and 2 corner clips. Now the clips all have arrows marked on them to show you which way to mount them, with the arrows pointing outwards towards the edge of your TV. The quality of the plastic is really good and the 3M is very sticky, but a couple of mine have let go and needed reinforcing with some other double-sided Velcro so far. The corner clips are really well designed. They're partially split which allows them to bend to match the shapes of your TV, which I really like. Finally, another power cable and 3-pin plug assembly. This time you also get a small power adapter that has 3M strips on the back. So overall the packaging and equipment all feels really premium, which you should expect for the price. So far so good. Now before we go on to installation, let's talk about something that's a little bit controversial. The light strip comes in 3 different lengths and is designed for 3 different sizes of television: 55-inch, 65 and 75. Now according to Phillips, you should buy the strip that is smaller than your TV. For example, a 55-inch light strip is recommended for TVs that are 55 to 60 inches, the 65-inch strip is for 65 to 70 inches, and the 75-inch strip is for TVs larger than 75 inches. Phillips also recommend that you run the strip parallel to the edge of your TV, about 5 centimeters in from the very outer edge. Now if you follow these recommendations closely, one of the negatives you would end up with is that the bottom edge of the TV wouldn't have any light effect. I didn't love that idea, so I spent quite a lot of time trying to research what would happen if you went for the larger strip. I was worried that even if I could get the strip to fit, then the light zones wouldn't match up correctly with what was on the screen, which would break the immersion from what we were trying to watch. In the end I just couldn't find a definitive answer, so I decided to take a chance and went for the 75-inch option to go with our 65-inch TV, and I'm very glad that I did. It doesn't quite fill the entire TV, but it's pretty close and way better than if I'd have gone for the smaller option. Okay, so with all that being said, let's get on with the installation. If you don't have any existing Hue products, then the first thing you're going to need is a Hue bridge connected to your network. We've got a separate video on one of the Hue Starter Kits that shows how to add the bridge, install the Hue app, and add your first light bulbs, along with some HomeKit and Siri integrations. So if you haven't already watched that video, I suggest going off and watching it first, and I'll link off to that video in the description below. Now in our lounge we have a Samsung 65-inch curved TV that's probably about 3 years old. The TV's wall mounted as you can see and it sits on a swivel bracket. The other parts of our system are the Sonos soundbar, 2 Play 1 speakers acting as the surrounds, and the Sonos sub. So the first job was to attach the HDMI box to the back of the TV. I've used a heavy duty Velcro tape to mount all the components you see here, and I'll leave a link to that in the description down below as well. I settled on the left side of the TV just underneath the Apple TV box, as this kept it out of the way but also within reach of all the cables and ports. I don't have enough power sockets behind my TV now, so I also had to mount a short 4-gang extension cable with surge protection. Once everything is mounted, you can connect up the power to the HDMI box as well as your HDMI devices. Like I said earlier, we've only got the Apple TV box, which goes in the first HDMI import, and then the HDMI box is connected to the TV using the HDMI output. Okay, let's move on to the light strip. And before you start measuring up, I'd recommend that you just power the strip on and check that you don't have any issues with any of the light zones. I had to return our first unit as one of the zones developed an intermittent flicker after a few days, so it's better to find this out now rather than at the end of all your hard work. Now is also a really good time just to check the back of the TV again, give it a good wipe down, make sure you get rid of any excess dust or oils that are going to stop the pads from sticking properly. The 3M pads are really good, but it's very annoying when one lets go right in the middle of the film. Next, you need to measure and mark the centre point of your TV, as this is going to be the starting point. I've just used a sticky note that I'll remove later. And the back of our Samsung TV doesn't have a lot going on along the bottom edge. There's no rear-facing vents or ports that are going to get in the way, but this is something you are going to need to check on your TV before buying if you decide to go for the larger strip than recommended. Now you can offer up the light strip by using the white arrow that marks the centre point of the strip itself and start to plan your route. Because this is the second strip I've fitted on this TV, you can just make out where I had the original corner brackets, and then work out exactly where you'll run the remaining length. As you can see, I've come in somewhere around 18 to 24 inches from the outside edge of the TV at the bottom, and everything still looks great. This is where the light would mount if you follow recommendations, and you can start to see just how much area you lose by doing that. I'm using my Apple TV here as a bit of a makeshift bracket, but you just need to be careful that you keep a nice smooth curve going without overbending the light. Now you can start to mount the brackets. Get rid of the light strip for now and start with the centre bracket, peel off the 3M backing and press it firmly into place. Then do the same for each of the corner brackets. Once you have the first 3 brackets in place, go ahead and clip in the light strip, as this will help with final adjustment of the last 2 brackets. This for me was one of those jobs that you just need to take your time and then measure twice and cut once, as the old saying goes. You really only want to be sticking each pad once. If you need to move a pad, then you're almost definitely going to have trouble with sticking it properly a second time round. When you think you're happy with the final position of the bracket, measure again for good luck and then peel and press into place. Then you can repeat the process on the other side, making sure that you have the strip coming in the exact same distance on each side of the TV. Hopefully this all makes sense, but please do leave any questions in the comments section. We do read them all and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Lastly, we're going to mount the power adapter. And the connector will only fit one way round, so it's important to offer it up before sticking it down just to make sure you have it the right way round and not to twist the cable. And this is the end result. Evenly spaced from the edge of the TV, the corners bent no more than 90 degrees, and a nice smooth curve all the way round. Cable management is essential, so I use the Velcro strips that came in the box, cut them to length, and they make great cable ties. Moving on to setup then, we'll be using an iPhone. You'll obviously need the Phillips Hue app installed before you start, and with the Sync Box and light strip powered on, launch the Hue app, and then click Add Accessory, and then choose Hue Sync Box. This will redirect you to the App Store, where you'll need to install the free Phillips Hue Sync app. Then once that is installed, you click Get Started and then follow the instructions on screen. You'll need to hold your device within 30 cm of the sync box for the Bluetooth connection to pair. Then once that is done and the pair is complete, you'll be asked to join the box to your Wi-Fi network, so have your SSID and password ready to hand. I've never had any issues with this part of the process for any of the Philips bulbs. The Wi-Fi connection seems very stable, but more often than not you will need to perform an update as part of this initial connection. The sync box requires you to press and hold the power button on the front for a few seconds to confirm the Wi-Fi connection. Then once all the updates are installed, you can name each of the HDMI ports if you want to. This is a nice touch which will make managing light profiles easier if you do have multiple devices connected. Then finally, as I use HomeKit, the last step for me was adding the box to my lounge room within the Home app. Use the Hue Sync app to turn the sync box on and off, and you can also adjust the brightness and intensity of the light strip. The idea here is that for gaming or fast-paced action like, say, sports, you probably want the intensity at the maximum, but I found the sweet spot for me to be around medium intensity with full brightness. This gives me the best balance of colour and effect without distracting me from what's going on the screen. The music setting is nice if you're playing just audio from the source device, as it will show a strobe effect with changing colours if you're into that sort of thing. And another setting which is nice to have is the default state of the light strip when it's not syncing. I've settled on a low level warm white, which gives a nice cosy feel to the lounge if the TV is not switched on. Now if you're still with me at this point, then thank you, we are almost there. Finally, let's just cover adding the light strip to your Hue app. The process is basically the same as any other type of bulb, only it will be added to an entertainment area. The app will run a test cycle of all the colours, and you just need to make sure that the colour on the app matches what is happening behind your TV. You can add a delay if you need to, if you find that it's not quite syncing perfectly. But luckily I didn't need to do this, so this was a very quick process. And that covers all of the basics really. That should be enough to get you up and running. If you take your time, the whole process will take a few hours, but it's absolutely worth the effort. I'm going to leave you now with some demo footage rolling as I move on to final thoughts so you can get a good feel for the finished setup. These are a combination of the Apple TV interface, some photos from our own collection, and a clip of some home movie projects I've worked on in the past. So final thoughts then. Well, like I said at the very start, I genuinely think these two bits of hardware might be the best technology purchases that we've ever made. The build quality of the products is excellent. Installation and setup are very straightforward as long as you're not a complete technophobe. Now over £400 for the two, which doesn't include the required bridge, which is going to be another £50 if you buy it on its own. I know it's very much a considered purchase, but the effect is truly amazing. I know I had a hardware failure with our first Lightstrip, but Phillips support was great and replaced it for me within a few days. And I would suggest is cheaper than what it would have cost me to jump from a 65-inch to a 75-inch TV. And this feels like a much more dramatic improvement than just having a bigger screen would have been. I would 100% recommend doing your homework with regards to which size is right for you. I've watched several films now and quite a lot of TV, and I've only noticed the lights at the bottom left and right corners not quite matching up exactly a couple of times. It has never distracted me from what I've been watching, and only noticed it when I was actually looking for it. I'm not saying that a 75-inch strip would necessarily work on a 55-inch TV, but would say if you're in between sizes like I was, and the bottom edge of your TV doesn't have anything that would cause the brackets to not stick properly, then consider going for the larger strip. It does feel like there's a lot more to cover with some of the advanced settings, HomeKit automations, and of course you can add more Hue bulbs and products like lamps to your entertainment area. And if you'd like us to buy some additional bulbs to expand the setup, then do please let us know in the comments. Thank you again for watching through to the end. Please remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and think about subscribing if you want to see more. My name's Carl and you've been watching Team Burgundy.